Okay, so as you've heard me mention before, I am a fire truck mechanic, and I like to refer to fire trucks as diesel powered super soakers. My favorite diesel powered super soaker is the Oshkosh P19, not the newer ones, the ones from the late 80s. They're the fire trucks that I learned to work on as a mechanic in the Air Force. I was actually a fire truck mechanic in the Air Force, and those things were so basic that they were designed to be. Uh, there were the dimensions were small enough so that they could be loaded up onto an aircraft, taken downrange, and so that it could provide landing support for aircraft if, for whatever reason the aircraft catches fire or whatnot. Those ARF units would put out those fires and hopefully rescue the crew. Now, there are three different types of models of these. There's the basic one, the P19. There's P19A, which is the Marine style, which that one's cool because it actually has a top hatch where if they're, for whatever reason, they got people, coming after them, they can pop that top hatch and that firefighter becomes a gunman. And it is, hey, Marines, they're gunmen first. They're what is it, marksman first or whatnot. So that one is pretty cool with that. These trucks have like $1,000. They have 1,000-gallon water tank and a pump that can produce up to about 300 psi, and it gets there's regulators and whatnot to keep it around 200, 240, somewhere around there, so it doesn't empty the tank too quickly. And also some of the other models like the P19B, it actually has a structural panel on the driver's side of it, or what would be the driver's side. The driver's seat on that truck is actually dead center in the middle of the truck. So that structural panel on the P19Bs, they have a hose reel too, and there's a switch in there that once it senses flow, that firefighter grabs that hose and he opens up that nozzle and to start spraying the water. That switch kicks in, regulates the pressure back down to 100 psi. Because if it doesn't, a supervisor of mine found out the hard way that 300 psi is hard to control. Needless to say, some of us had a few laughs. Of course, that supervisor also got to have a laugh at me a couple of times. I'm just a big old dork. So when you're filling up that truck, the filling up that water tank, it actually has a check valve in it. So you hook up to it, you open it up, and it's got a one-way check valve. When that check valve fails, it'll act as a double check valve because there's nothing stopping it and then the firefighters will say, hey, like it's only taking in a little bits of water at a time. Well, in one particular case, this actually happened when my lieutenant had a bunch of cadets over, and she was like, hey, like, let's show off what we do at fire truck maintenance, because fire trucks are cool, right? So they're all there watching me in the background, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this thing. And I look at that check valve, I'm like, man, I think the nut's missing on it. I grab a hammer, I'm like, let me see. I put the hammer down the pipe, water gushes back out, man. Anyway, but yeah, the Oshkosh P19, the early 80s model, the 24-volt system. It was just relay logic, real basic. It's a hard truck to kill, and when it does get killed, it's real easy to be rebuilt and put back into service. I did a lot of work to them when I was over in Iraq and whatnot, and I was like, they're just, those old trucks are a joy to work on. But I'm an old school kind of mechanic anyway, so. All right, well, that's gonna do it for now. Catch y'all later.